Title: The Man Who Saw Someone in a Snowstorm. Then it followed him home. This story isn't fiction, it actually happened, and by the end, you might think twice before driving alone at night. Chapter 1: The Roadside Figure. The storm had come without warning. 1 minute, the highway stretched endlessly ahead, quiet, empty, almost peaceful. The next, the sky collapsed into a violent swirl of white. Snow slammed against the windshield like handfuls of gravel, the wind howling loud enough to drown out the engine. Visibility dropped from miles to mere feet in seconds. Daniel tightened his grip on the steering wheel. "Stay calm, just keep driving," he muttered to himself, his voice barely audible over the storm. He was somewhere deep in rural Canada, hours away from the nearest town. His GPS had lost signal nearly 30 minutes ago, leaving him with nothing but instinct and a fading sense of direction. The road, once clearly marked, was now a pale blur blending into the surrounding wilderness. His headlights carved a narrow tunnel through the snow, but beyond that, nothing. Just darkness and chaos. Then the car jolted slightly. Daniel's heart skipped. What was that? He slowed down instinctively, eyes darting across the road. Ice, probably. Or snow buildup. Still, something didn't feel right. The kind of feeling that crawls up your spine without explanation. He exhaled slowly, trying to steady himself. "You're overthinking. Just the storm." But then he saw it. At first, it was barely noticeable, a shape in the distance, standing just at the edge of the headlights. Too still. Too perfectly upright. Daniel squinted. No way. He eased his foot off the accelerator. The figure didn't move. It stood on the side of the road, partially obscured by the snowfall. A person, it seemed. Tall. Motionless. Facing the road. Out here? In this storm? Daniel's chest tightened. Is that someone? His mind raced through possibilities. A stranded driver? Someone who crashed and needed help? It wouldn't be the first time someone got caught in a storm like this. But something about it felt wrong. The figure wasn't waving. Wasn't signaling. Wasn't moving at all. Just standing there. Watching. Daniel slowed the car to a crawl as he approached. The closer he got, the clearer it became, and yet, somehow, no less unsettling. The person was dressed in dark clothing, completely still despite the violent wind. Snow piled up on their shoulders, yet they made no effort to brush it off. Their posture was stiff, unnatural, like a mannequin placed by the roadside. "Hey!" Daniel shouted instinctively, though the windows were closed. No response. His pulse quickened. "Should I stop?" he whispered. Every logical part of him said yes. Someone could be in danger. Freezing to death, even. But another part, deeper, instinctive, screamed no. Something wasn't right. The headlights fully illuminated the figure now. Daniel felt a chill that had nothing to do with the cold. The person's head tilted. Just slightly. As if acknowledging his presence. His breath caught in his throat. Okay, nope. Without thinking further, Daniel pressed the accelerator. The car surged forward, passing the figure in a rush of snow and wind. But as he drove past, he glanced at the side mirror. And what he saw made his blood run cold. The figure had turned. Not slowly. Not naturally. But suddenly. Now facing directly toward his car. Watching him. Even as he sped away. Daniel didn't stop driving. He didn't slow down. Didn't look back again. His heart pounded violently against his ribs, each beat louder than the storm itself. His hands trembled on the steering wheel, but he forced himself to stay focused. "It's just a person, just someone out there," he repeated, trying to convince himself. But the image wouldn't leave his mind. The stillness. The unnatural way it stood. The sudden turn. And the worst part? It hadn't tried to stop him. Not even once. 10 minutes passed. Or maybe 20. Time felt distorted, stretched thin by fear and isolation. The storm showed no signs of easing. If anything, it grew worse. The wind howled louder, the snow thicker, the darkness deeper. Then something strange happened. Daniel's headlights flickered. Just for a second. He frowned. Come on, not now. The car wasn't old. He'd never had issues with it before. But out here, in the middle of nowhere, even a small problem could turn deadly. The lights flickered again. Longer this time. Daniel's grip tightened. No, no, no. Then. They went out. Complete darkness swallowed the road. Shit. He slammed the brakes instinctively, the car skidding slightly on the icy surface before coming to a halt. For a moment, there was nothing. No light. No movement. Just the sound of the storm. Daniel's breathing grew rapid, shallow. Okay, think. He reached for his phone, fumbling with numb fingers. The screen lit up, casting a faint glow inside the car. No signal. Of course. He turned it toward the windshield, trying to use it as a makeshift light. And that's when he saw it. A shape. A head. Standing in the road. His heart stopped. No. The same figure. Closer now. Much closer. Standing directly in front of his car. Perfectly still. Facing him. How? That was impossible. He had driven for at least 15 minutes. There was no way, no logical way, that it could be here. Unless. No. He shook his head. That doesn't make sense. The figure didn't move. Didn't react. Just stood there, silent and unmoving as the storm raged around it. Daniel's instincts screamed at him. Do not get out of the car. Do not approach. Do not engage. But another thought crept in. What if it needs help? What if it's real? What if you just left someone to die out there? He swallowed hard. Just check. From a distance. Slowly, cautiously, he reached for the door handle. His hand hovered over it. The wind howled louder, as if warning him. He hesitated. Then. The figure moved. Not a step. Not a gesture. Its head snapped upward. Directly locking onto him. Even through the darkness. Even through the storm. Daniel froze. And in that moment, he knew. This wasn't someone lost in the storm. This wasn't a stranded traveler. This wasn't normal. His hand slowly pulled away from the door. He didn't speak. Didn't move. Didn't breathe. The figure remained there. Watching. Waiting. And then, his headlights flickered back on. For just a split second. And in that brief flash of light, Daniel saw something he would never forget. There was no face. Chapter 2, The Distance That Closed. The light vanished as quickly as it came. Darkness swallowed everything again, leaving Daniel suspended in a moment that felt unreal, like the world itself had glitched. His breath came in short, uneven bursts, fogging the inside of the windshield. His heart hammered so violently it hurt. No, I didn't see that. But he had. That brief flash of light had revealed something impossible. Where there should have been a face, eyes, nose, mouth, there was nothing. Just a smooth, pale void. No features. No expression. Just emptiness. Daniel squeezed his eyes shut, shaking his head. You're tired. You're panicking. It's the storm. But deep down, he knew that wasn't true. Slowly, he opened his eyes again. The figure was still there. Standing in the middle of the road. Unmoving. Waiting. A sudden surge of fear snapped him back to reality. I need to get out of here. His hands fumbled for the ignition. The engine was still running, thankfully, but the headlights remained dead. He didn't dare step out, not with that thing standing just ahead. So he made a decision. If he couldn't see the road, he'd drive anyway. Daniel pressed his foot down on the accelerator. The car lurched forward. Straight toward the figure. Move. Move. But it didn't. It didn't react. Didn't flinch. Didn't even acknowledge the speeding car hurtling toward it. At the last possible second, Daniel swerved. The tires screamed against the icy road, the car fishtailing violently as it veered around the figure. For a split second, he thought he'd lose control completely, but somehow, the car straightened out. And he kept driving. Faster. Faster than before. I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping. His voice was shaking now, barely holding together. The storm seemed worse somehow. Or maybe it was just him. Every shadow felt alive. Every flicker of movement outside the windows sent a jolt of panic through his body. The road stretched endlessly ahead, empty, but no longer safe. He risked a glance in the rearview mirror. Nothing. Just darkness and snow. He let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. It's gone. But even as he said it, doubt lingered. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. The road remained empty. No signs. No lights. No other cars. Just him. And the storm. Gradually, his breathing began to slow. His grip on the steering wheel loosened slightly. Okay, maybe it's over. Maybe it had been some kind of hallucination. A trick of the light. The stress. The isolation. People saw things in extreme conditions all the time. Right? Then his radio turned on. A burst of static filled the car, loud and sudden. Daniel jumped. What the? He hadn't touched it. The dial spun on its own, cycling through stations rapidly. Static. Silence. Fragments of voices. Then more static. Stop, stop. He reached out and tried to turn it off. But the knob wouldn't budge. The sound grew louder. Sharper. Like something was trying to break through. Then. A voice. Faint. Distorted. Daniel. He froze. Every muscle in his body locked up. No. The voice came again. Clearer this time. Daniel. His blood ran cold. That's not possible. There was no way. No one knew where he was. No one could reach him out here. And yet. Turn around. Daniel yanked his hand back from the radio as if it had burned him. No. His voice cracked. I'm not turning around. The radio crackled violently, the sound warping into something almost angry. You left me. The word sent a chill through his entire body. I don't know what you are. Come back. No. He slammed his hand against the radio. It went silent. Just like that. The sudden quiet was almost worse. Daniel's ears rang in the absence of sound. He stared straight ahead, refusing to look anywhere else. Just keep driving. That was all that mattered now. Keep moving. Don't stop. Don't look back. Then the headlights flickered again. Once. Twice. And then. They stabilized. The road became visible once more, stretching out ahead in a pale, snowy line. Relief washed over him. Finally. But it didn't last. Because something was wrong. Very wrong. Daniel leaned forward slightly, squinting through the windshield. No, that's not. Up ahead. In the distance. He saw it again. The figure. Standing in the road. Exactly like before. Same posture. Same stillness. Same impossible presence. His stomach dropped. That's not possible. He had been driving for miles. There was no way. Unless. It wasn't following him. It was waiting for him. A wave of dread crashed over him. This wasn't random. This wasn't chance. Something was happening. Something he didn't understand. And whatever that thing was, it knew him. It knew his name. It wanted him to turn back. The car began to slow. Not by his choice. His foot was still on the accelerator, but the vehicle resisted, as if something unseen was pulling it back. Come on, come on. The engine strained. The speed dropped further. The figure ahead remained perfectly still. Waiting. Watching. Daniel. The voice wasn't coming from the radio this time. It was inside the car. Right behind him. He felt it. The presence. Close. Too close. Slowly. Reluctantly. Daniel's eyes shifted toward the rearview mirror. And what he saw made his entire body go numb. The figure was no longer on the road. It was in the back seat. Chapter 3, What Followed Him Home. Daniel couldn't breathe. His eyes were locked onto the rearview mirror, his entire body frozen in place. The storm still raged outside, but inside the car, everything felt suffocatingly still. The figure sat in the back seat. Silent. Unmoving. Too close. No. The word barely escaped his lips. This wasn't happening. It couldn't be happening. Slowly, very slowly, he turned his head. Every instinct screamed at him not to look directly. But he did. And there it was. Sitting right behind him. Its body was there, dark, human-shaped, perfectly upright. But its head was tilted slightly, as if studying him. And where its face should have been, there was nothing. Not shadow. Not darkness. Just a blank, pale absence that seemed to swallow the light around it. Daniel jerked his head forward again, gasping. Get out. Get out of my car. No response. The thing didn't move. Didn't react. It just existed. The engine roared louder as Daniel slammed his foot down, pushing the car as fast as it would go. The speedometer climbed, the tires struggling against the icy road, but he didn't care anymore. He just needed distance. Distance from that thing. From whatever this was. Please just let me go. His voice broke. Taz blurred his vision, mixing with the dim glow of the dashboard lights. His hands shook violently, barely able to keep the car steady. Behind him. Nothing. No sound. No movement. But he could feel it. Watching him. Minutes passed. Or seconds. Time had lost all meaning. Then. The storm began to ease. Gradually, the wind softened. The snowfall thinned. The suffocating white blur gave way to something clearer. Daniel blinked rapidly. Up ahead. Lights. Faint at first. Then stronger. A town. Relief hit him like a wave. Yes, yes, thank God. Civilization. People. Safety. He was almost out. As the car approached the outskirts, the road became clearer, the snow less intense. Street lights flickered into view, casting a warm, yellow glow across the pavement. Daniel dared to look in the mirror again. The back seat was empty. His breath caught. It's gone? He twisted slightly, glancing behind him. Nothing. No figure. No presence. Just the empty back seat. A shaky laugh escaped him. Okay, it's over, it's over. He drove straight to the nearest gas station. The place was quiet, almost deserted, but the lights were on. A single worker stood inside behind the counter, barely looking up as Daniel pulled in. Daniel killed the engine and just sat there for a moment. Trying to process everything. Trying to convince himself it was over. Then he grabbed his phone and stepped out of the car. The cold air hit him hard, but it felt real. Grounding. Normal. He staggered slightly as he walked inside. The worker glanced up. You all right? The man asked casually. Daniel hesitated. What was he supposed to say? Yeah. Bad storm out there. The man nodded. Yeah, been rough tonight. You're lucky you made it through. Lucky. Daniel almost laughed. After a few minutes, he paid for some coffee and stood near the window, staring out at his car. Something felt off. A lingering unease he couldn't shake. His eyes drifted to the back seat through the window. Empty. Still empty. Get a grip, he muttered to himself. You're safe now. Eventually, he returned to the car. Opened the door. Sat down. Closed it. The familiar silence filled the space again. He exhaled slowly. Just drive home. The engine started without issue. The headlights stayed on. Everything seemed normal. Daniel pulled back onto the road, leaving the gas station behind. The town stretched out ahead of him. Quiet streets, dim lights, the comforting presence of life. For the first time in what felt like hours, he allowed himself to relax. Maybe it was over. Maybe whatever that thing was, it couldn't follow him here. Maybe it was tied to the storm. To that road. Then his phone buzzed. Daniel frowned. No service, right? He picked it up. A notification. From an unknown number. His stomach tightened. Slowly, he opened it. A single message. No text. Just an image. His breath stopped. It was a photo. Taken from inside his car. From the back seat. Of him. Driving. The phone slipped from his hand. No. His entire body went cold. Very slowly, he raised his eyes. Toward the rearview mirror. And this time, he didn't need the headlights to flicker. He didn't need a reflection. Because he could feel it. Right there. Closer than before. Closer than ever. A presence. Right behind him. And then. A whisper. Soft. Right next to his ear. You didn't leave me. The car swerved violently. Tires screeched. Headlights flashed across the empty road. And then. Darkness. If this story gave you chills, make sure you subscribe, because the next one might be even worse.